All right, welcome to Plunked. We're this two teams, one city. I'm one of your hosts, Kristen and joining me soon will be Emilio Bucks. Have a lot to talk about with our beloved White Sox and Chicago Cubs. Both teams showing a little life. Cubs kind of falling back into that same rut today, but some positive signs on both sides of the town. So it's good to not have to talk so negative today about both teams. So, how are you doing there, Bucks? That well. See,
Fine,
oh, he's just
fine.
speechless. You know what's made him speechless is the Yerminator. I mean, just the way this man has just come in here and it's Bucks is now speechless. He doesn't know what to do with himself. So I'm sure he's excited. And tonight's show, we're going to start off by talking about the White Sox, who are on a roll. They just swept the Texas Rangers, so they're in second place, only a game and a half behind the Royals. So some positive signs. You got Tim Anderson back. Lance Lynn is working his way back from the injured list. So you have some good things to talk about there. So how you doing there, Bucks?
Not bad. I'm not doing bad now. I got my second shot yesterday.
Okay.
So I have been in some recovery, not to discourage anyone from getting vaccinated.
Yeah, because I was fine with my second one, so it just really is a crapshoot. I didn't have
Yes, it
any
is.
issues.
Yeah, I was fine all yesterday, and I woke up in the middle of the night and was a little chilly, as in the chills, and so I've been up and down all day, but I'm feeling better. Ready to talk about some baseball, like you said. Things looking better. Things looking better. Hey, I feel like the bigger story right now is between the two teams is your team, the Cubs. Um, because last week, it was all bad, really, and you seemed a little down.
Well, yeah. Well, they're a story. I don't know if they're the biggest story because they fell back down to earth these
True,
last two
true.
games. Although I question pulling Alzolay with two outs. Yes, in yesterday's game, just
Yes.
let the kid finish it out. The Rex brothers didn't fare well, even though Shiambi said that he did the job. Yeah, I guess he did the job after he gave up the lead, but other than that, he gave up the lead. But they look better, scoring a lot, and so you knew since they scored so much those other games that it was going to be a game like today where they had men on and couldn't do anything.
Exactly. I like some of these younger guys that they've been playing. What's his name? Milsnick, the guy
Oh,
tall, long
Marisnik, yeah,
Marisnick.
I like Marisnik.
I like what he's doing.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I,
And
I he'll even he'll even out as well because I think this is like this may be it. but for right now, I don't see how you don't play him. But
yeah,
the reason why you don't play him right now is because they're determined to get Bodie started and Ian
and
Happ.
I don't understand that. You know
Yeah.
what you got from Bodie.
And Nico Horner's here, and it proved the point that we made
Yeah.
last week.
Yes, you
And
did.
at the beginning of the season, he should have been
Yeah,
up here from the beginning. And he's
absolutely.
here and he is on fire. The last three games, he had 4 hits, four walks. He's hitting in the last 7 games, 444. And you want to know what
See,
Bodie's doing? In the last 7 games, well, actually, Bodie's not that bad in the last 7 games, 318, but the last 3 games, 2 hits and 1 walk. But defense and hitting and everything. And then they have Bodie hitting second. I don't understand that.
right, right.
But I guess it's not for me to understand. Huh.
I mean, guys like Nico, like what I like about them is they're guys that are just trying to get hits. They're not trying to save anything. They're not trying to save the team. They're not trying to win the game single-handedly. They get up to the plate and they just want to make contact on the ball. And along with the other Cubs bats, you know, Rizzo is getting back to himself. Brian has been
The
great
best
all
hitter.
year.
Yeah, he's been
Yeah,
the best
yeah,
hitter.
yeah. And your boy Javi, he's still up and down.
Yeah.
He played well, I think, yesterday.
Yeah, he's over the last 3 games, he's had 5 hits, batting
Yeah,
300 over the last 7. He's still gonna swing for the fences no matter what the situation.
yes, he is.
And
Yes, he is.
he will never be cheated on a swing.
He
So
is. He's never checked a swing.
no, never. So it's what you live with. You live with that. So
Yeah, yeah, and it's not the worst thing to live
right.
with. It's tough when they're struggling to get offense, but like I said, I like those younger guys who are just up there to make contact and kind of just advance runners, and a little small ball never really hurt anybody.
Yeah.
My opinion.
They
But
had a lot of long ball though, those 15 and 16.
true,
But
true.
it was also some small ball too, but then they had the
I mean,
grand
that way
slam
you
and
get more than just the single home
yeah.
run,
Oh
or
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean.
definitely.
You get some RBIs, I guess I should say.
Yeah, and
Is
people were
what.
taking walks, so they were
Mm-hmm.
getting on
Yeah.
base. So it was a much better showing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you knew you had a feeling yesterday when they lost the lead that they weren't going to come back. It
Mm-hmm.
just felt like it was about that time. And then today, Jake Arrieta held it down as long as he could, giving up only
Yeah.
1 run. The Cubs had several chances
Mm-hmm.
to score, and they failed. So just one of those.
That's a tough story all around. Like missed scoring opportunities. Leaving again, as Hawk said, ducks on the pond. It's one of those things I think every team struggles with at
Mm-hmm.
some point throughout the season. Even the best teams at some
Right.
time
Yeah.
throughout the season will struggle. And when we talk about the Cubs, like we don't have the luxury of kind of talking about them in the context of, well, it's still early and there's still a lot of season left, because really, you got to look at the Cubs as like, if they're not competing by June,
Yeah, it's gonna be a
then they might get broken up. So they don't have till August to
mm-mm.
like show that they're ready. They got
Yeah.
they got to show through next month that they're going to keep the team together. And
Yep.
so I love to see that the core guys like your Bryants and your Rizzo and even your Arrieta, he left for a while, but he's still kind of a core guy,
Mm-hmm.
from that World Series team, that they're coming in and saying like, okay, we don't want this broken up. We do like each other.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to somehow figure this thing out. Otherwise we're going to get shipped here, there, and whatever. I liked what I saw from them so far. They were playing some pretty decent baseball. I feel like their defense kind of improved a bit, and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So there's a question. I don't know if when we read them, but we'll get
sure.
to it when it's about the Sox. So we'll talk about when we start talking about the Sox. The question.
Can we say now that the Sox trading Tatis Jr. for Shields was a mistake?
I think we said that long.
Well,
That was a long time ago. That was a mistake.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
James Shield was arguably the worst pitcher. I mean, he wasn't that bad of a pitcher, but when he came here, like that was
Yeah.
some of the worst pitching I'd ever seen.
Did they want him before they got him? Was it one of those where it was a little too late when you finally got him? I can't
Oh
remember.
yeah.
Was it
Yeah,
okay?
because I think he was in Tampa, I think, where Shields was, and he was good in Tampa. I
And then
believe he was in Tampa.
yeah,
But
I
yeah,
don't
he had seen his
yeah.
better days
And
by the time he got
Tatis is great.
there.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
but
So
you got some greatness happening over on the
I
south
mean, yeah,
side.
it is what it is. So we can't go too far back on
Yeah.
that. He wasn't a good number 4. He wasn't a good number anything. Shields, like when he was here, he was not a good anything. Like, I mean, maybe you could have gotten an inning or 2 out of him, put him in a bullpen, but
Long reliever
yeah, that's not what he was brought in to do.
and paid.
Um, Yeah, they got paid for sure. So, but, and speaking of the fellows on the South Side, if we could take a look at their last. Let's get this out of here. Winners of 4. I didn't finish that in because I didn't check on the game today, but I know it's winners of 4 of the last 6. Had that rain delay on one of those days. The Sox, they are starting to kind of fire on. I don't want to get too crazy and say they're firing on all cylinders, but they're getting there. Abreu's bat, like on the hitting side, Abreu's bat is waking up. Moncada's still struggling. He's been able to at least take some walks and figure out a way to, manufacture getting himself on base while he's struggling, which is good. But I mean, of course, Luis Roberts is being Luis Roberts, and my boy,
the Yerminator,
star of the show, Jermaine. Speaking of Jermaine, next week, the Yerminator, I will be having a Yerminator burger, and I'll do a review next week on this Yerminator burger. Like, usually I'm not too big on like foreign design hamburgers because I lived in a foreign country and their version of hamburgers were terrible. So
I'm glad I didn't take a drink all the way.
So maybe because it's actually made here.
What's on the Yerminator? Do you know?
It's like that chimichurro sauce.
Oh, okay, I can't eat it then. Never mind.
Yeah,
I was gonna try it as well, but
yeah. So it's
I'd have to get it minus everything, and so then I would just be telling you what ground beef tastes like.
It's like, can I have a Yerminator with nothing?
Right? It'd be like
one hamburger.
Right. So now I'll just trust your opinion.
So we'll do a quick review. But in any case, I'm always cautiously optimistic, but the boy's not letting up.
No.
And he's doing it all kind of ways, from just the getting on base all the way to hitting a long ball. And you just hope that guys don't figure him out after a while, but we got to ride that horse.
Yeah, there's gonna be just like how I mentioned with Marisnik, there's gonna be that time where it's like, woof, this guy is yikes. Maybe he should sit down for a little while. That happens with everybody, but but all the championship teams always have that come out of nowhere type of person to have their best season. So it might be the Yerminator.
Guys, well, of course, but I guess Kyle Schwarber's best season was probably the year before.
Yeah, like they had, people like on that team that Addison Russell had 95 RBIs, and most of his RBI were like a ground out because the bases were loaded. They were always on base. And so there'd be the bases loaded with one out. He'd hit a ground ball to first base or something like that, and the run would score. So, but he had 95 RBI that year. So he was one of those. Yeah.
Fit within the system.
Yeah. And that's why I won't get into that. That's why they should have gotten rid of him the next year while he was still, desirable.
Yeah.
But
you know, and then the writing was on the wall.
Yeah, and Zobrist was the big, come through and the clutch guy during that. So you always had to have those people, and the team will be the Sox will be a consistent winner once Abreu becomes a consistent hitter.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like that's we're seeing that happen because he struggled early. The pitching is looking really good. I feel like Michael Kopech.
Yeah, it struck out 10 today and 4 innings.
Struck out 10 and like no walks, I think. People, now I was reading something and they were like, yeah, he's got potential. Potential is you were already seeing it. Like this is it. He's just really coming back from the TJ.
Yeah, and then he sat out. Didn't he? He opted out last year, right?
Right. And then didn't we discuss this with Kittle?
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
We won't get into
He
the.
did because he opted out, and there were some personal issues going on as well in Michael Kopech's life.
Yeah,
So
so we won't get into the specifics of what Kitty had to
yeah, I'm much more gentle than Ron Kittle.
say about that. But yeah, so like, I mean, okay, we got through last year without him, and now he's healthy. You know, it's always kind of a good thing when, all right, a guy sits out a year, but you see him coming back and he's throwing the ball. And so it's like, all right, well, he got a year off, so that's just less miles on his arm. He needed some time off after the surgery, anyways. And then you know, got to let a guy get his life together. You know what I mean? He had some stuff with his son.
No matter what Ron Kittle says.
But no matter what Kitty thinks, you know,
it's okay to get yourself together.
It is okay to get yourself together because you know you're no good to anybody otherwise.
Right.
Let's see. Giolito got touched really early during the week, and now
they skipped his start. He was originally supposed to start today, and they put Kopech there.
I think he cut his hand or something.
Oh, okay.
So he's got a cut on his hand, and so he's going to miss probably a couple starts.
What was he doing? Cutting an apple? Isn't that how they always cut their hands? The athletes can't ever stop cutting apples, kids.
Just like you know.
I know you got someone in your life. Just tell them to cut up some apples for you and put them in a container.
I mean, him, you know, Carlos Boozer tripping over a bag, and you know these guys do some. You know,
yeah.
JPP blew half his finger off with fireworks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's weird. You know, these guys should take better care of themselves.
Yeah.
So what's coming up next week for the Cubs? I think they got
they have Atlanta. I think it's 4 games, right?
Atlanta, let's see, yeah, because they had it's just a 2 games.
Just 2 games. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. You're right.
Okay.
I'm reading wrong. 4 games set at Atlanta.
Before and then they go to Cincinnati. Oh,
correct.
Cincinnati.
And, I know the Cincinnati is always a thorn.
That's always. You know, Atlanta is good, but people have gotten to them. So it's for the Cubs. Who's pitching? I don't know why I'm so disgusted and nothing's even happened yet.
Because you're waiting on it.
Right. Well, Zach Davies pitches tomorrow. He has an 8.8 ERA.
Stick man.
Well, I don't know.
What kind of prediction you got? I mean, we're going
They need to split. You know what? Actually, if the Cubs want to stay together past the trading deadline, which I really doubt it's going to happen, but if they want to, they have to really almost win every series leading up to it. So they need to go 3 out of 4. And at one point, they were in second place, so they lost these last 2 games. So it's not as if it's hard.
They were a game out just 2 days ago.
Yeah,
right?
Their division's not great. So, but we all know that the Cardinals will eventually figure it out. The Reds will be better than they're showing, and the Brewers are in first place, and they're missing Christian Yelich. And I don't remember Lorenzo Cain playing too much. So they still have some pieces that are missing. So they're going to get better. So the Cubs, I know their hitting isn't consistent, but I feel as though they will hit better. My issue is going to be Zach Davies. Which Williams are you going to get? Hendricks and Arrieta, I'm not too worried about them, but everybody else, I think Alzolay will continue to get better. He's going to hopefully he can start going more than 5 innings because the bullpen isn't that great. So I can't understand why Pedro Strop hasn't been brought back when he was good in his few, but they haven't brought him back, even though they brought up other people.
Where
So
is he right now? Is he
he's
down in
that alternate site.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
came up when people went down with COVID, and then when they started coming back, they sent him down. And I don't quite understand how some of these other people that they keep throwing out there, you think they're better. I give Pedro a shot, but
yeah,
they it's hit or miss what they get between the starter and getting to Kimbrel. And that's crazy that all of a sudden now I'm counting Kimbrel as good because he hasn't been recently, but this year he has been.
overall,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's but my prediction will be a split, but they really need to win 3 out of 4, but I think they'll wind up splitting.
Yeah. I feel like they really need to take 3 from Atlanta
Yeah.
before going into
To
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati,
You
because
know what I mean? You feel much better if they could pull that off.
yep. I think this tomorrow's game with Zach Davies, because it's been really rough for him lately. If he has a good game, then maybe that'll carry over to everyone else after that. But
So do you
if
feel like
he puts
Go
them in the
ahead.
hole.
So who do you feel like their truly number one is? Are you thinking Arrieta or Hendricks?
Well, I think Arietta, but stats and analytics say Hendricks, but results say Arietta.
Yeah, I mean,
But Hendricks was good that last game, but he had 15 runs. So,
and this early in the year, you have one bad start out of 4 or something, and your ERA is all crazy. Like he's
right.
at 5.6, almost 5.7 right now. But
Who, Hendricks?
yeah, but we know
Yeah.
that's kind of skewed, and Arrieta's at 2.57, which may be skewed. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, he and Arietta, but they face the same team, so I can't even say that. Never mind. That's not even makes a difference. I have more. I have more confidence in Jake Arrieta, and maybe that's a carryover from when he was here the first time. I never trusted Hendricks, even when he was doing well, because he was usually 6 innings and that's it. And sometimes it was 5. And once you tried to push it to that third time around in the batting order, it wasn't good.
Yeah.
And then
you've never been too high on Hendricks.
no, I haven't. And then he was good, but I still have always been the waiting for the other shoe to drop with Hendricks. And it will continue.
Yeah. So I'm going to take a look at the Sox pitching really quick.
So they don't play till Tuesday.
Correct. And they still at home against Detroit. So that's good. We should be able to get some wins against Detroit.
And then Cleveland's after that.
Because we got Cleveland coming in, and like it's really hit or miss with Cleveland. They're like those Ohio teams.
Yes. And then they play the Reds. Then they go to Cincinnati after that. The Sox do.
So
see if they'll have the same.
Maybe
Although
have better luck with the
Yerminator should have a field day at the Reds Park. If he's having a power surge at that point,
he should. I don't know. He's gonna have to figure out how to get some
Yerminator. They're gonna have to, and then they're gonna have to.
Because they're in NL Park.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So then that's a question. If he's hot, do you sit Jose? Because isn't that the position? Where does he play? Didn't he play for Jose once or something? Or somebody else played first?
I think he's played in left. He's played,
I know he's pitched.
Yeah, he has pitched. Throwing some real meatballs over the plate the other day.
Throwing those Yerminators.
It's like seriously like throwing hamburgers over the plate. Also, speaking of pitching, like I guess I'll give props. Like Tony La Russa, sometimes when he's doing weird stuff with this pitching staff, you think, "What are you doing?" And then it turns out, and it's worked in his favor a few times, and it's like You know, I mean, all right, the old man, he's he still got it up here where it counts. He might move slow, very slow, but, but
He is a Hall of Fame manager.
he is a Hall of Fame manager, and assuming his mind is all intact and it's not floating
Well,
in gin or anything. Like
well,
he's
he
still.
has people to assist him, so he'll be all right.
Yes, this is true. This is
Now,
true.
what is your biggest concern right now with the Sox going forward?
My biggest concern is really kind of shoring up that left field position. Like I like the guy Billy Hamilton.
Hmm.
Made a great throw to home yesterday.
And that's shocking.
Eh,
That
right?
is
I was like, wow.
because that is not his thing.
I didn't think he had it in him either. He threw it right on the money. And he was a defensive replacement for Vaughn, who kind of made a bad throw to home.
Mm.
He overshot the cutoff man.
Okay.
Threw it to home. Luckily, the catcher was able to catch it, but it allowed the runner at first, because it was only a single. It allowed the runner at first to advance to second.
Okay.
Not hitting the cutoff man. So that was just kind of like one of those bang bang. Where do I throw it in the moment?
Mm.
Vaughn is not a left fielder by trade. He's a first baseman, in fact. And so, like, you're putting Vaughn out there because you want his bat and you want him to get reps.
Right.
And then you put Billy Hamilton out there, and then it's. But I'm looking for your main.
So it's part of the
Yeah,
problem.
he's a catcher.
He's a catcher. It's just like Kyle Schwarber. Is
Just like catcher. He's a catcher, probably not a great catcher.
he's got
Because otherwise he probably would have played some for Grandal, because Grandal is kind of struggling behind the plate,
mm.
and he's definitely struggling at the plate. So but I think he's probably a better choice than putting the Yerminator back there. I don't know what that would look like.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It might be like when Kyle Schwarber was back there.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Kyle
Or
Schwarber can
like
throw though. That he can throw.
he can throw.
He's been throwing out people playing for the Nationals, the DC Cubs.
Is he what did they have him, behind the plate or left field?
Left field.
Okay.
I don't think he'll ever play but be a catcher again. Like, he's the emergency catcher, especially after the surgery and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
like, and one of the things, especially speaking of catching and struggling catchers, one thing, and Ozzy brought this up in the post game yesterday about Grandal, and you're seeing a lot of these catchers do this nowadays, of kind of kneeling on that one knee, that off knee, instead of doing the full squat. I think the idea is maybe to save the knees a little bit.
Yeah, someone was talking about that.
Oh, really? Yeah, but it's making them a little immobile behind the plate.
Yeah, I think
you can't slide.
I think the Cubs broadcast was talking about that too.
Same thing, really? Yeah, it's like this, like some genius said, you should kneel on one knee.
But now they can't.
They can't slide over
to block.
Yeah, and you're seeing a lot. I think league wide, you're seeing a lot more pass balls. I mean, with the Sox and Cubs, you're seeing a lot of pass balls, and it's like, if there's a pitcher up there that's going to be throwing some breaking stuff, like, he's probably a ball's going to get by the catcher, especially if he's got that one knee kind of planted on the ground now, and he can't slide over. I don't know, baseball and their numbers and their metrics and all of that. Yeah.
I know we have an expert who speaks on analytics, so I know the importance of them, but sometimes I wish, I think you can still do both. It's like the analytics people, that's it. It's, well, even if they're getting outs, if their exit velocity is this, that means eventually they'll drop. You hope.
You hope.
It's not a guarantee, that they're ever going to drop. They might just keep hitting it hard to somebody.
Right. Right. It's like the game of like numbers and probabilities, and which, there is value in. You know what I mean? Like even what Tim was explaining last week, there is value in that because it's like, well, numbers show that this is likely to happen or not happen. So, but like you said, I would like to see the human element kept more in baseball, because now they're even talking about having the machine call balls and strikes.
Yeah.
With
And
the
that's got
with
me
an
all choked up.
earpiece. All right, and with the earpiece, like
Oh my
ball,
gosh.
like ball, strike, like
Oh wow. That's going to cut into those umpires' paychecks.
I mean, I would think so. Like hell, I could stand back there and just
Really?
and get the call. You call it for me, and I just yell it out. Strike!
Yeah, that is. They will become way more animated because some of them
Like
have
my boy
to.
from Naked Gun,
Oh yes.
Melissa Nielsen.
Yes. Because like a Joe West, Angel Hernandez, they have to be seen. They have to be part of the show.
Yeah, they have to be controversial. People pay to go see them, so they think.
So what they're gonna do is they're gonna call the opposite of what the robot's telling them.
Right. And then there'll just be a lot of fighting going on.
Right. Like, wait a minute. The robot told you strike. They were wrong.
No. That was outside. But yeah, so like circling back around, like my concern is always health, but who doesn't have that concern? Everybody, because that could drop at any time. But yeah, that left field position, especially, you put Billy Hamilton as a defensive replacement, but it's not like a great left field, but then neither is Eloy.
I think, he can get to everything with his speed.
True.
He can catch
Right.
everything. So,
and I mean, he only has to play a part of left field because Luis Roberts, like, he covers center and left center really well.
Okay.
He's a guy, like, even when somebody's hitting a long ball against him and you see Luis running, it's like, oh, he's going to get to it. He's going to get to it, until it's like, oh, he didn't get to it. But like, there's always a good chance. He's able to cover so much ground so fast. Yeah, and I think the Yerminator jumping out like this is kind of, I don't want to say it's going to halt Andrew Vaughn's progress, but it can kind of get in the way because, like you said, well, does Andrew Vaughn play first and let Abreu DH? Well, then where do you put the Yerminator?
Right. And
I'd rather see Grandal or even Collins still catching than putting the I've never seen Yerminator catch, but I just don't feel good about
that. May impact Yerminator's hitting. Do you think that Jose Abreu is okay with DHing more, or does his pride like, no, I'm a first baseman?
No, I think he's a guy that prefers to play.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I don't think he's that far in his career where he's like, yeah, I could use the time sitting, more. Like, I don't think I think he's older than what his records say they are. but shoddy, Dominican records or Cuban records, whatever, And go ahead.
I know Tony La Russa made a joke that
Really?
he took him by his neck and said, "You better play me," or something to that effect.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but he was joking when he said that. That's why he wasn't the DH anymore. I guess they'd done some switching around with the lineup, and so he made a joke that Abreu came to him, took him by his neck, and was like, I need to be playing first base now.
I mean, the guy's he's the reigning AL MVP. You can't just take his position from him right now. You know what I mean? And he's still playing good first base. He made a hell of a play to save that the no-hitter effort by Rodon. You know what I mean? And yeah, I think I don't want to get into what's old to a person, but I do think he's old a little bit more than to just say, nah, you're just going to DH until there's real reason. I mean,
Right.
I don't think it's right to say you're going to DH just so we can get Andrew Vaughn some
Right.
play at first. You know what I mean? For the rookie. Um,
How long do they let Andrew Vaughn sit here without regular at bats, do you think?
that's a good question. I think they're low key just playing it by ear and kind of seeing how long they could ride this Yerminator horse. Because anytime it comes in that hot, that exciting, I'm sure in Tony's mind and everybody's mind is like, how long is this going to last? When's the bottom going to fall out of this?
Right.
Because more times than not, it does.
Yeah.
And so I think they're kind of just holding out, waiting to see, like, is that going to fall out? And then we can kind of make an easier decision. We'll work it out with Abreu, give him some DH opportunity to kind of be able to split some time with Andrew Vaughn. But I don't know. Like, he's going to be a great player, and you can't impede his progress. But then you can't sit the Yerminator.
Yeah.
Can't sit the
Yeah, they got to find a place to put. They got to. Too bad he doesn't play third base for a little while.
I know, right? So we could just move Moncada,
let him get his
Puerto Rico, wherever Moncada's from.
He struggles so much from the COVID. He said, hopefully he's
Oh,
feeling
really?
all right. Yeah, he said he never really felt the same last year when he came back from it. So maybe I'm not saying it's still COVID bothering him, but maybe he just still hasn't found his and eventually he will, because if you just keep going by people's numbers, they're the back of the baseball card that's saying or whatever, it says that eventually they're supposed to get better. Unless all of a sudden they just falling off and now their baseball card is going to reflect every year bad.
Which, I mean, who knows? It has happened before,
Yeah.
but I think it's a little early to get too scared about Moncada. But I mean, point is, we're going to need him. If this team wants to make a real playoff run, they're going to need him, especially if Eloy doesn't get back for the playoffs. They're going to need him. So time will tell. So let me turn that question on you. What is your biggest fear or concern with the Cubs? And don't rattle off like 8, but just
no. Well, my biggest fear is that they're gonna dismantle, whatever, get rid of everyone, and I'll be watching bad Nico Horner. Not Nico Horner himself. He'll be the star, and I'll just be watching a lot of bad. That's probably the biggest fear. I always knew that pitching was going to be the issue. I just hoped that they would hit enough to play well, because I know it's eventually going to break up because they're just not willing to pay people, and the players that are here aren't willing to take whatever the Cubs throw at them. But I do have a fear that it's going to happen at the trade deadline, and really I'll continue to watch them because we do this show, but I won't have much of a reason to watch.
Yeah. Well, we watched and did the show for the Bears all last year.
Yeah. Man, it's going to be a little different, though.
It's going to be worse this year. Yeah, baseball, because there's so much baseball.
Yeah, and
watching 100 of games of bad baseball
and the Bears, even during their bad stuff, it wasn't as awful as what it could wind up being if they get rid of everyone on the Cubs, because the Cubs really don't have that much ready in the minor leagues to come up and make a difference. So that's
they do not.
People aren't close. The players that are considered good, they're not ready. So it's 2 years. Yeah. And we've done it in the past, but in the past you had Harry Carey, you had Andre Dawson, you had Ryan Sandberg, you had Sammy Sosa. Then you had these young guys who you saw would be able to hit in Anthony Rizzo and Starlin Castro.
Even Soriano.
Soriano. Aramis. But like, you know,
Yeah,
so
oh yeah, Ramos
there
Correa was my
were,
guy.
yeah,
Moises Alou.
Carlos Zambrano. But like,
Yeah,
you had, even on the bad teams, you had someone that was exciting to watch.
yeah,
And if they get rid of everyone in the core, I don't know who that person's going to be. They're like, okay,
right.
well, I'm at least going to watch this. I mean, I like Nico, but
He's not
no,
like, oh
it's
well, Brian and Rizzo are gone. We got Nico.
right. No. And it's, you know, like I said before, when you were watching when Starlin and Rizzo were there, and you knew at that time they were the core and they could
Mhm,
hit. Everything else around them was bad, but you saw that okay, if they kept building with these two, and
mhm.
then there was some more, and you heard about some more people coming. Like, okay, I can see something building. Well,
I mean,
you
they
know,
had Jeff Samardzija. He was a stud.
yeah, and see now, now you don't have that. You got
Right.
no, you don't have that if they get rid of this. So
I Rizzo. I feel he's the spirit of the Chicago Cubs, and like if you get rid of him, then yeah, like really, even without necessarily always being the best player on the team, I feel like he's truly like he's the spirit
well,
of
he
the
is
guy.
the face.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you should pay him. I don't want him to
Mhm.
be gone, but I don't know how much you should pay him.
He's more valuable to the Cubs than he is to anyone else. I kind of think. I mean, depends on how you use him. I don't know. Bring
Yeah,
him
I
over to
guess it
the
depends
AL.
teams. Now the Brewers could use him. They need a good first baseman,
They
so
need a
they could
first
use
baseman.
him. The Cardinals don't. You know, a lot of teams, like you're right, a lot of teams have a very good first baseman,
Mhm.
and he's not going to do well as a DH because
Mhm.
he is still a Gold Glove first baseman. So
Yeah.
you're probably right. Yeah, he's. You know, the Cubs don't even have a first baseman to take his place. I
So
don't think.
who backs Rizzo up? I should maybe know
Probably
this.
Chris Bryant. Chris
See, and
Bryant plays everywhere but
Chris
catcher.
Bryant plays everything.
Yeah.
I've never seen him catch, but that's about it.
Yeah, and
Or pitch.
I don't know, he may not have been in center before, but I'm sure he could play it.
I'm sure he can play center. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
he's
yeah.
tall for second base, but he could do it.
He could do it. Yeah,
If
he's
he if you
athletic
if
enough.
yeah, if he had to, he could do it.
Mhm.
So he can play everywhere. I know he has backed up Rizzo at first.
At
Uh,
first.
yeah, but you know, once they traded Victor Caratini, I don't know, maybe Austin Romine, that might be the other one because he is on the team. Austin Romine
Okay.
might be the a backup first baseman.
Okay.
And since
Okay.
Nico's been here, Chris Bryant's been playing in left field every day. Oh, I know he
Right.
played right field as well.
Oh
So
yeah, I
he's
did
been
see him
out-
play right.
yeah, he's been
What's
in
his
the outfield. He hasn't been at third for a few games.
Yeah, they don't even have a listed additional first baseman
Yeah,
on the
I
roster.
think
Now, of
it
course,
could
there's
be.
guys who can play
Yeah,
it, but
I'm pretty sure Austin Romine can. I think he's
mhm,
played it when he's been on other teams, and I
and he's
know
a
Chris
catcher.
Bryant can play it.
Uh,
Now, do they
okay.
play it as well as Rizzo? No, but
And every day, like
yeah,
if you
no.
lose Rizzo, does
Like I
is
don't want
Bryant
Chris
become
Bryant to
your
start having to do splits at
Yeah.
first base. Like, you know, Rizzo is accustomed and he's limber, so he can do a split.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
want Chris Bryant. I don't want Chris Bryant to have to start doing splits to get the out.
yeah.
That's just
I mean,
that's spelling disaster.
yeah, yeah. It's not for everybody.
No,
First
and
baseman.
he's so athletic, he probably could. You know, you put Javi there, he could probably do it and do the splits.
Mhm,
But I
mhm.
just don't want them to do it. Rizzo's legs and hamstrings and groin, there it's all trained to
It's
do that.
not and it's not a good idea to put a guy every day to put a
Yeah.
guy there that's not by trade a first baseman.
Because I think it was last year, Brian was in the outfield and he dove or something and he hurt himself. And he
Mhm.
wasn't the same after that. And then that's when, like,
Mhm.
okay, stop putting this guy in the outfield or
Where
Chris,
did he hurt
don't
his
dive.
shoulder or something?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it was like, okay, you don't dive anymore. If you can't get it just running, just
I
let
mean,
it
yeah,
drop.
like I don't know. I get afraid when I see anybody dive. It's kind of like because you're holding your breath, waiting for him to get
Yeah.
up and see if that shoulder is like
Yeah.
over
And
there.
right. And he can dive at third base, but the
It's a quick
diving,
dive.
yeah.
It's not. You're not like running
Yes,
and
they
then
lay
diving.
out.
It's a quick.
Right.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
a different
laying
dive
out.
in the outfield. Yeah.
So
I mean, we saw King Griffey pretty much end his career on a
wait,
dive.
was that when his hamstring ripped from the bone?
I think
Well,
that
that
was
was
later,
later.
but I think it was like at first when he got to Cincinnati, he dove, hurt his shoulder, and then it just kind of all
Everything,
snowballed.
it's like a car. You start
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
everything
yeah.
fixed and everything.
Then everything just kind of starts, and that was just kind of the beginning of his end, unfortunately.
Mhm.
Kind of
What's
disappointing.
what?
Well, it's kind of disappointing how King Griffey's career
Yeah,
ended.
it is disappointing when it's because of injury, so you don't really get
Yeah,
to see it play out well.
yeah.
It's
But
like
then we know all about
they're a
that.
shell of themselves, and they can't go out with the same fanfare as if they went out on their own terms.
And then they go from being the best player on the team to not,
The fourth
But you were about to ask
outfielder.
me, yeah. But you were about to ask me a question about something.
Yeah, my memory's bad.
Yeah, mine too.
Uh, what a show. Uh, now I remember.
Talking
So,
Chicago baseball here, folks.
I was trying to remember something. You would ask me about my prediction for the coming week. What's your prediction for the series for the Sox and
For
Detroit?
the Sox, I'm hoping for a sweep at home against Detroit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they should be able to.
They're garbage.
Cabrera's hurt, isn't he?
Always, I think, but yeah, I'm not. Let me take a
He's
look
hanging
here.
on by a thread. He just keeps on hanging on.
I
He
mean,
refuses.
the man, he came in the league when he was like 16, and he's
And he's like
56
40.
now.
He's about 45.
Yeah. I mean, he was there like, man, he's been there a long time. I think
Yeah. He was with what was it, Miami? Florida Marlins.
because he was on that team that beat the Cubs team in
Cubs,
03.
yeah. With Juan Pierre's terrible rap.
Woo.
Went to Wrigley Field, got a wiggly field. If you don't sit down and don't you ever pick up a mic again.
He came play for the Cubs.
I know, and I still stand.
With his noodle arm in left field.
And when he came, I was like, don't you pick up a mic and rap about anything, please. If those are the lyrics you come up with, no.
Yeah, so I'm looking for a sweep against Detroit. I got my schedule up over here. Was what I'm looking. Cleveland, I'm just hoping for a split of some sort. Like, I mean, I don't know what. God, I hope we don't have to face Bieber again. Damn.
I wonder how long they're going to hold on to him, or if they're going to see what they can get.
Right.
Or are they going to
Because
build?
they're going nowhere besides beating the Sox.
That's what I'm like. So, and then I guess as a team, then you have to decide, okay, how long are we just going to keep giving away people before we start building around these people?
Guys, right?
Yeah, but then you have to think, okay, we're 3 years away. All right, Bieber in 3 years isn't going to be the same. So, do we get what we can for him now, and hopefully get talent that'll be ready for in 3 years? But then you're in Cleveland, and if you start getting bad, those fans aren't going to come. And so then you'll be complaining about your revenues.
I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. It's like, I don't know what their predictions are on being good again. Like like leaving the Sox, holding on to Hillbilly Jim. That went to Boston and won a World Series. Lefty. Violent throwing lefty.
For Sale.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, who is him? I was like, whose name is Jim? That's how I was like, who's name Jim?
First thing that came up. I'm sorry. Okay. I got COVID right now a little bit from my vaccination. I got a little COVID I'm dealing with right now, so I'm a little slow right now. Let's see. I think we got some more. We got some more comments here. Just need to shore up our bullpen. They're hitting a groove now. Like, yeah, they are hitting. Evan Marshall is coming around. He's pretty decent.
The Crotchet give
I
up
like
runs today.
He did what?
I said the Crotchet give up runs today. I know his name is Crochet.
Crotchet. Let's check
But
on Crotchet.
let me see. I thought he was pitching at one point, and I'm gonna be better. No, he didn't. Okay, good job. He gave up 3
Good job,
hits.
Crotchet.
Cratchit was all right. It was Stever. Is that how you say his name? He gave up
I
the 3
think so.
runs.
Yeah.
I think they just brought him up.
Yeah, because I let's see.
So was this Kopech's first start this season?
No, he started
I didn't think so.
like one game last week, but I think they kept him to like 4 innings
Okay.
or something like that.
I think he only pitched. Well, I guess he pitched 5 because he got the
Yeah, it
win.
looks like he went 5 today. They're kind of
Yeah.
just easing him into it.
Okay. How do you feel
Yeah,
about
boy.
Dylan Cease?
Dylan Cease, he's I like Cease. I don't have like a strong opinion on him either way. I think he's good where he is as far as in the rotation. He's straight gun. I'm sorry, I'm reading this comment.
Oh, they're
Billy
talking about
Hamilton.
Billy Hamilton's got an arm. He straight gunt dude last night.
Straight gunt, dude. I like that. Gunt him. I mean, he. I mean, it was a good throw. It was
I mean,
right on the money.
we say
It wasn't a
that one
great
was
throw.
good.
It took a couple hours, but it was in line.
But center field, if he's throwing from center field, right?
No, he was throwing from left.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, because he replaced
Oh,
Andrew Vaughn late in the game as a defensive replacement because Andrew made that kind of not a bad throw, just a bad judgment on who to throw to, which is just being young and not being a left fielder.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
You didn't, it's not automatic what to do in those situations.
I'm also Hap has been Hap and Contreras the last 7 games. Hap has hit 148, Contreras 185. And remember, Contreras was hot.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden he's
you think that shot to the head is
no, maybe he needs another one to get angry. He seems to play
right,
better when he's angry.
Yeah, that's true. He was hitting when he was getting hit.
Yeah, someone needs to start making him mad in the clubhouse, I guess.
And there's the kind I kept trying to think of was Jock Peterson. What are your thoughts on him right now?
Well, he's hurt now, and hopefully wherever he is recovering, he's finding his stroke because he left all his hitting in spring training. He has hit a few more. Man, no, it's not good. So, if he comes back and he still can't get and he still can't get it together and Marisnik is hitting, and then that's who needs to be in left field. Or I'm sorry, no, center field, because he plays a much better center field than Ian Happ. Ian Happ plays a much better left field than he does center field.
Okay.
But I liked the signing of Jock Peterson because I think, it was a low risk. And I would like to see him do better. And maybe he's trying to hit too many home runs to impress people. Start off with some doubles, some singles, doubles.
That's what I'm saying. I think that was a lot of the Cubs, maybe even most of them, was their problem early on. Was they really looked like they were trying too hard. They really looked like they were just like, okay, this is the at bat that's going to turn this whole thing around. Like that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself, going up to bat and thinking like, okay, I got to win this whole game in the 3rd inning, but the young guys again, Marisnik, Horner, even Sogard, like I like those guys that are just kind of getting on base and getting some contact on the ball. I feel like you need to have one of those guys in your
Like,
lineup just to kind of help move that around, that carousel.
these past few games, Matt Duffy's also been part of that. Like,
Mhm.
he's been getting a hit or getting a walk.
Mhm.
The last 3 games, Matt Duffy's had 2 hits. Sogard, he's had 3 hits. Sogard in the last 7 games is hitting 545, so he definitely needs to stay in the lineup.
He needs to be in the lineup, yeah.
You know,
Which keeps Brian in left field though, right? Or
right. Yeah,
well, kind of, yeah.
it does, because then they put Bodie at third because they are determined to play
To
Bodie.
keep David Bowe.
Nico Horner has also been learning to play the outfield. So
Okay.
they could always put Sogard at second, Brian back at third, and Nico in left. But
When can they just
love Bodie.
when can they just release Jason Hayward?
Well, okay, so you said that Rizzo is like, I think Jason Hayward is like their heart and soul. Like, they love him.
Oh, really? Okay.
The team loves him. But
I mean,
he's hitting 227 in his last 7 games. And I know analytics, if you're watching or paying attention, you don't care about that. It's more about the OPS and whatever. But I didn't have time to write all that. So I'm just giving you the average. And I don't care what the rest of the stuff says. If you're only hitting 227 in the last 7 games, that's that. He's hit a couple of. He's had that. He did have the walk off, and he's hit a home run.
He did. Yeah.
The last 3 games, he's had 2 hits. 2.
It's not going to do it.
And that's why he wasn't in the starting lineup.
It's not going to do it.
And it's every
I
year.
feel you, he probably is the heart.
So, but he's so likable. That's why you don't, and no one really gets mad at him. It's like, it's one of those you accept that he's just not going to be able to hit.
He just accepts that he's been overpaid.
Right.
He gave a hell of a speech in Game 7.
Exactly.
World Series.
He's gonna live off of that speech during the rain delay forever. I mean, he's bought a house in Chicago, has a dog named after the city. He said he is.
Does he really?
Yeah, he's now a Chicago resident. He's married. They're making a home here. So, you just like, oh, Jason. Oh, you went 0 for 4. That's okay, Jason.
That's okay. You love Chicago.
You love Chicago.
I mean, a lot of athletes do. You know what I mean? A lot of athletes end up settling back down here, even after their playing careers.
Yeah, and he does some mentoring. Like, he did that whole thing, the West Side with the Harvest, where it was like him and Giolito, Mitch Trubisky, Sam Macho, like all of them put in money and did this mentoring thing. So, you just like, oh,
he's a good person.
Yes. And that, and he's a
better person than a player.
Great defensive player.
Still,
but that offense,
right side, ground ball, right side.
Oh my gosh!
And that is his favorite
every time. It's shocking when he gets a hit, because it's just like, oh, this is gonna be a ground ball to the second baseman.
Yeah, but
like, he got a hit.
That's his favorite spot.
Yeah, and they do the whole shift. I'm like,
yeah, they should. Oh yeah.
Start dropping bunts. No one's at third base. You have speed.
Squeeze them. Bang. Yeah.
There's no one there.
Your third baseman is playing at shortstop. You know what I mean? And third base was open.
Yep.
But then again, that I feel like that's managing, that's coaching, that's like the whole small ball, like just manufacture getting on base, And
I know they throw pitches that maybe don't allow him to always bunt, but
sure.
Well, see, there I go. I'm making excuses because he lives in Chicago now, and he's a good guy.
And he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Is his wife from Chicago?
I don't know, but if this were Ian Happ, I'd be going off because
absolutely
he doesn't live in Chicago.
He has not done anything.
He has not given a speech during a rain delay.
Not give a good speech in Game 7
when he saw Aroldis Chapman and Addison Russell crying.
Crying.
Like, hey, crying? There's no crying in baseball.
Crying in baseball?
Long live
All
Jay
right.
Hay.
Long live Jay Hay. Free Jay Hay. Well, before we move away from baseball and start to wrap it up, I'm just checking the standings. Right now, the Sox are sitting a game and a half back of Kansas City. When do we have Kansas City? That's weird. And Cubs are now sitting 3 back. They're, baseball is just a game of streaks. You know what I mean? It's so streaky, and there's so many games that the tide shifts so easily. It's not like any the other 2 big sports where like
Right.
a real shift takes time to happen. Like, again, last week it was like Cubs look terrible. Then they went 4 straight, and it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah, they
1
were in
game back.
second place. Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? And now they drop a couple, now they're 3 backs. It's like, well, what's going on? So I still think, and I'm just gonna say it, this is April 25th. Cubs take the division.
Well, I certainly hope you're correct.
I know a guy named Carl Petit. If he's watching, he's probably like, shh. Yeah, right.
Carl and Chris like win what? What division?
Right.
They gonna win on the video game.
Right. Maybe MLB challenge or something like that.
Because Cardinals about to win this division.
Yeah.
They play Kansas City on May 7th and then again on May 14th.
Okay, so just 1 game sets?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
May 7th through the 9th, and then May 14th
gotcha.
is a doubleheader, and then the 15th and the 16th.
So that's going to be a real test. You know what I mean? Because that's their, like Cleveland isn't really the competition in this league, but they are competition for the Sox for whatever reason. But Kansas City is going to be the real measurement. But still early, not as early for the Cubs as it is for the rest of the league, but still early. So have you even been watching the Bulls? Like,
I have.
Please
and
speak on it. Speak on
it. Okay, the Bulls' biggest problem, that defense is always going to be their problem, but they've actually been a little better defensively. The problem is they start off slow, like they don't care. Like they're in the playoff, the play-in game. They're not. They're in 11th. So they're not even going to make the playoffs right now. They have 13 games, I think. But they always have to come from like 20 down, and they do. They make a comeback. But you can't keep doing that. And it's the starters that start out slow. And then they bring in the bench, and the bench will kind of bring them back. Kobe White's been great because he can score, but because he's been able to score. So once Zach comes back, he still couldn't really play with Zach and Vooch because there's not enough scoring for him.
Ain't enough ball.
Right. So, but he has been like picking up the slack, and then other than that, Sato has fallen off. They take, oh my gosh. If you would have seen yesterday's game when Denzel Valentine took this 3. Oh, I mean, the announcer was like, no. Kendall Gill on their post game, like, what the hell was Denzel Valentine doing? Shaq and Charles Barkley did a whole thing. Like, it was a question, where is he going to play next? They said in China. Wow. Like he won't even be on the NBA team. If you get a chance, everyone watching this, if you didn't see it, play the video of this 3-point shot that Denzel Valentine decided to take when they were making a run, and they could have either taken the lead, tied the game. It was something. And it was it was like a Steph Curry type 3. Now, this is Denzel Valentine.
Wow, right.
I'm not saying Zach. Zach could have gotten away with it.
Sure.
Vooch could have gotten away with it. I'd even let Kobe White get away with it.
Right.
Not Denzel Valentine. Right. So it's just, and then they'll do so much good, and then all of a sudden they just make such a terrible mistake. So they play the Heat again tomorrow. They did all right, like I said, against them defensively, much better than what they have in the past. But if they get down by double digits in the middle of the first quarter going into halftime, they can't win like that. They don't have Zach. And I guess he's
because
close to coming back
Kobe coming back.
because
You know,
he posted a picture with the sand and the clock. What's that thing called? The timer, but it's the sand, the hourglass thing or whatever.
like sands in the hourglass.
Right? Days of our
These
lives.
are the days of our
So,
lives.
and then he posted a picture of him dunking. So I guess he's letting the world know
The
I'm
world
on my
know
way back.
light-skinned Kobe is on his way back. But
And
because I love to hate Denzel Valentine so much, let's watch him take this three. Hold on. Let's see if I can get it up here. There we go. Got it queued. Here he comes. Here he comes. Oh, and he shot it like Steph.
Yep.
With a little flip. He doesn't even normally shoot like that.
And it was an air ball.
And an air ball.
They were down by 5.
And look at Billy Donovan. Like, what?
And Stacey King was like, no, what are you doing? It was.
Look at the look on his face. He knew it.
And then,
like, well, I guess I better start learning Chinese.
Right. The whole team had to look like, what the hell?
Talk about a momentum killer.
Yes. And they had so many empty possessions coming down that time when they were trying to make their comeback, and they were only down by 5. And for a while, Jimmy didn't have any field goals. It was just all free throws because that's what he does. But then he did come to life. But they just played them well. But all of a sudden, their offense, and sometimes I don't like Billy Donovan's substitutions. I think he takes some people out before they should, and he takes some people in longer than they should. I like that. I was going to call him Thagic Johnson because that's what they always call him on the show. But I don't like it when he starts to dribble. Like when he's in the post and he starts to dribble because he's going to usually lose the ball. But they really have to, in their next 13 games, they're going to have to go like 10-3.
To get that
just to get in the play
in. And I'm looking at some shout out to T Nick here. He mentioned Jay Leonard proposing on TV brought him some time because people love him for that bullshit. I hated him for that bullshit.
His name was Charles.
The white supremacist he proposed
I think she has asked for forgiveness for that moment.
Well, she damn well better.
She had a moment. She realized the error in her ways.
I'm sure she's
and I really think Terrence is wrong because I don't think anyone loves Charles Leno but his teammates.
I hated him for proposing on TV.
And it's not even the proposal. Like most of you're just not good at your job. You were. You were good at your, you were decent. You got that check.
Yeah.
Kind of went down from there. So
which also goes back into, when we had Steve Edwards, shout out to Steve Edwards. He always says at that level, man, there's no garbage players.
Right.
They're just not being told what to do the right way. They're bad schemes. They don't know where to move. And, so and that does kind of agree with he was good. What happened? All of a sudden he's not no, he just kind of lost his way and white supremacy and all.
But and also when he was good, that's when the quarterback was mobile to hide his deficiencies. And I understand if you make it to that league, you're a good player. But now once you're in the league, when you compare to others, you can be bad.
You can be bad compared to others.
Yeah, when you compare to others, you have to be good to get to the league. Garbage isn't going to get there. But once you're there and you stack them against others,
I'm going to call them garbage.
hot garbage.
T-Dick said no bad players, bad coaching, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
It's all the
Yeah.
same, whatever.
Yeah, it's all bad coaching, bad
It's not
players.
bad coaching. They just don't
You're
have
not
the
a bad
players to run
student.
their.
You just had bad teachers. Like, nah, sometimes I was a bad student.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes there are some bad teachers and there are
Absolutely.
plenty of bad students. And, no matter how many times you teach someone a technique, it might disappear once they get out there
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
they forget
Yeah.
it. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I don't even want to go there with the Bears right
nope.
now. It's too
Nope.
early.
No
It's
need
too
to talk
early.
about them until after the draft.
Yep. Oof. Tragedy.
And then may not even talk about them then. I
Not
don't
in
even
a good
talk
way.
about them till September. What's the first game?
We ain't even talking about preseason.
No, just September.
Nah, week 1. Well, I think that's about our time for tonight. You got anything you want to close with?
Go Chicago.
As usual.
Stop the violence.
Overall, I still feel good about the baseball I've been seeing from both teams. They have their struggles. They're not perfect. But I respect Chicago.
It's enjoyable to watch.
Yes.
Much
And
better.
therefore, we're doing this show at the right time.
Yes.
Because I would have never agreed to do this like 2 years ago, the way the Sox were playing. I'm not talking about them.
Now you're gonna have me on here talking about the Cubs after the trade deadline.
I mean,
with player number
hopefully not.
95. Like, who is that? John Smith? I don't know.
Like, I don't know. Like Tom Boykins, who's
the
starting?
But J. Hay will still be there.
Right, J. Hay will still be there. Loved.
Going nowhere, boy.
Maybe he's got like this. Does he have the same agent as Denzel Valentine? Maybe.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna check out Denzel's. When you review the Yerminator, I'm gonna review Denzel's album or EP, whatever he put out on Valentine's Day.
I did not know about that.
Yeah, he's a rapper.
I'm kind of regretting that I do know now, but I want to hear a review next week.
Yeah, it came out on Valentine's Day. Clever.
Even worse. Or clever. Yeah. All right, folks. So next week, right here on Plunked, we'll be reviewing the Yerminator, and we will be reviewing Denzel Valentine's album.
It's got to be better than that shot.
It doesn't have to be. I've heard some terrible music before, but all right. So signing off for Plunk. Again, big shout out to our mother program, the Chicago Clubhouse. Shout out to Tanya and T Nick over there doing their thing and helping us along with what we're doing here with Plunk. I always appreciate it. Chicago to the world blows up. Which could be soon.
Put the guns down, people. Stop the violence.
Peace in the streets, please. It's protest season coming up too. It's like it's unarmed motorist cop killing season's coming up. It's like, oh,
it's bad. Come on, people. Let's get together. Let's have a good rest of 2021. You can do it. You can do it, Chicago.
You do it. All right. My name is Emilio Bucks, and you are
Kristen Petite.
And this is Plunked. Enjoy your week, people.
Good night or goodbye.
2 fingers.